My name is Roger Michaels. I'm the regional sales manager for Crestron in the Ohio Valley. And I wanted to talk to you today a little about unified communications, or UC. And when you hear UC, some people go, what are you talking about? So that's why I kind of gave this presentation the name of Demystifying UC, because there are so many people out there that when you say UC, they're like, I have University of Cincinnati. I have no idea what you're talking about. They don't know that we're talking about unified communications. So there's all these things that are out there that causes confusion in the marketplace around unified communications. BYOD, OpenUC, question mark. What does that mean? Native experience. Native to what? Native plus BYOD. Now I'm really confused. Interoperability. You mean that hasn't been there all the time? MTR, what is that? So I'll answer the last one first, MTR. So if you ever hear anybody in our industry say, well, do you want an MTR room? That means a Microsoft Teams meeting room. That's all it means. We just abbreviate the living daylights out of everything. So let's jump into the next one. BYOD OpenUC. BYOD means bring your own device. Bring your own computer, bring your own tablet. It allows you to leverage the room's technology to conduct a video call of your choosing, whether it's BlueJeans, whether it's Zoom, whether it's Microsoft Teams, any of those platforms that you want to conduct a video call on, you bring your own device and use the software on your device. An example of that from Crestron is the good old Mercury that we've had out there for 5 or 6 years that allows you to bring your device, plug in some cables, and do a video call while leveraging the camera and the microphone that's built into the Mercury. So when you hear BYOD or OpenUC, now you know what that means. Like, I'm going to bring my device and do a video call. I'm going to use the room's peripherals to be able to leverage that and not the camera and microphone speakers on my device. This gives you a better user experience because usually those peripherals are better. Native experience. What do we mean when somebody says, you want to do UC, but you need to have a native experience? What they're talking about is the user interface on that MTR room, Microsoft Teams meeting room, or a Zoom room. It means you get the Teams or Zoom native user interface on the touch panel that you're using to control that room with. It allows you to standardize across your company. Everybody's used to using Zoom or Teams on their laptop. So Microsoft and Zoom have said, okay, as we develop these platforms for meeting spaces, we want everybody's user experience to be the same. So you'll see that the user experiences in the native environment will reflect what you're used to using today. And Crestron Flex products fit that bill from a native experience standpoint. Native plus BYOD, now we're getting somewhere. What does that mean? Well, that means that you get everything that is talked about, that native user experience on your touch panels. In Microsoft Teams or Zoom, you get your room scheduled there on the user interface. You can do your one-touch join and join that call because the room's been invited to that video call that somebody set up for you. And you get the native Teams experience. You get the chat, you get all those other things. But what if your organization needs to support Zoom? What if your organization needs to support BlueJeans? What if you need to support Google Chat? That's where the plus BYOD comes into play. We talked about bring your own device. So you can have both. You can have the native Teams or Zoom experience, but you can also have the ability to bring your laptop, sit down, plug in HDMI and USB-A or just a USB-C connector, and conduct that meeting from your device running any software that you choose and leverage the room technology to provide a better experience for those people on the other side of the call. Interoperability. So if we even want to make it more confusing, actually, this is a good thing, really. It really is. So Microsoft and Zoom and Cisco, yeah, those are the three, decided that they were going to play nice and allow Microsoft Teams room to participate in a Zoom call or to participate in a WebEx call. There are some things that you need to do in your Microsoft Teams room settings to allow that to happen, but it allows you to have a standard user experience with Microsoft Teams, but allows that Teams room to join a Zoom room call or a Cisco WebEx call without having to BYOD. Still get one-touch join for Teams, Zoom, and WebEx. So if I'm in a native Teams experience, if that room has been invited to a Zoom call, on my one-touch join list, it'll say Zoom call and then all the call information. So there are some things that you need to know about this functionality with interop. The room has to be invited to the meeting. You can't forward meeting invites from a person. I can't forward an invite to a Microsoft Teams room. If that meeting was Zoom, I was invited, I can't forward it because the device can't do all that translation. So a couple of caveats with interoperability I just wanted to bring up. These are fully working right now. So anybody who produces Zoom rooms or Microsoft Teams rooms, interop is there and it's there for you to use. So I hope that that's helped some of you. The reason why I wanted to bring it up, because the people who are responsible for selling it from the manufacturing side point the finger at me and all my cohorts. I promise you, 2 years ago, you would throw out all these terms and everybody was deer in the headlights. So if we're responsible for bringing this message to the masses, and we were confused, I know that your end users possibly are confused, our clients are confused, and just the general public in general is confused. So hopefully that sheds a little bit of light on some of the terminology and all those other things that is being thrown around out there in the marketplace today. So let's jump into Crestron's UC solutions. Crestron Flex can cover every space. So what sets us apart? There's 5 people, 6 people, manufacturers making Zoom rooms, making MTRs. Microsoft came to us because we worked with them closely when we launched XIO Cloud, and they said, "Hey, you guys make really good hardware. We're a software company. We're going to go and we're going to revolutionize the personal video conferencing market. We need you to build the hardware." And we said, "Great. We've already got a start. We've had the Mercury out for a while." But we offer a solution for every space and every layout, whether it's a 4-person huddle room or it's a 100-seat auditorium or a double divisible space. And we'll get into some of those as we go along and some of the model numbers. Right now, I just want you to know what's available. At the end of this, if you need more information, reach out to the great folks at Dobil. They'll be able to help you out. We also support BYOD and native for every room type. Some manufacturers will allow you to do BYOD and native, but it's only for large rooms. I don't know what good that does, because you have spaces that are small and that are large and that are medium that you need video conferencing in, and you should be able to go to a manufacturer and they should be able to provide that. So it's available. We also offer cloud management for every one of our solutions. IT folks love it. It lets them manage all these spaces that they have out there across the globe. Some things that we've added to our new Flex kits within the last, say, 4 to 6 months. We've shipped them with our new 70 series touch panels. That is shared across the Flex series platform. We've improved the ultrasonic pairing capabilities with Zoom rooms. If you ever seen any of our 60 series touch panels, they had speakers, but they were really small. Worked for ultrasonic pairing in a Zoom room call, but it wasn't great. Let's just put it that way. So the new 70 series panels have a much larger speaker to produce that ultrasonic noise to allow ultrasonic pairing when you walk in with the device in a Zoom room. The LCD screens are higher resolution, so they look sharper. We have a proximity sensor built in now. So before, you'd have to go up and touch the touch screen to wake it up. Now we have a proximity sensor. You get close. If it was hibernating, now it'll come to life and you can take whatever action you want to take. We also built in mute indicators into the touch panels. The 60 series didn't have that capability. So that's why if you've seen our Flex kits, some of the old ones had the 60 series. All the new ones will have the 70 series touch panels shipping with them as they go out the door. So let's talk about some of the things that standard kits allow you to do for basic collaboration. Comes with an intelligent camera, Hudley IQ, wide field of view, genius framing, all those fun things that you expect out of a UC system. Crestron integration. We know that there are things that you need to control within these spaces that's not directly related to UC. We can do that. It says single display here. I will tell you, any of our standard kits within the last, I believe shipped in the last 4 to 5 months, we have a firmware push out there that will unlock the second display. So any of our standard kits, the M50s, the non-X advanced kits, you can get a firmware update to allow those to support dual display moving forward. This is just a little wiring diagram, shows you USB from the Mercury up to the UC engine behind your display. Simple little configuration. Our advanced kits, intelligent camera, same integration, so we can do page flips and control other things within your room. These did add dual display, but that's still a feature. You can do dual display with our advanced kits. But we add a BYOD application to these native UC rooms, which allows you to come in with your laptop and plug in HDMI and USB-A, or if you have standardized in USB-C, plug in USB-C, and that's the only cable you need. Plus, you get some power to charge your device with the USB-C connection. So you take over the peripherals in the room and do the call with your device. When you unplug, it goes back to that native Zoom or Teams experience that you were using before you walked into the room. And it's a single cable extension. So one Cat5 cable from the table up to all the peripherals up to the front of the room is all you're going to need. Why choose Crestron Flex? Well, we provide the native Teams and Zoom solution. We give you BYOD support for all of the lineup. Simple deployment, single Cat5, no need for separate extenders or all those things. It's in the kit. It's all included. Future-proof, mode swap. So that's one thing that we haven't talked about yet. There's another term, and this is really on Crestron because we called it mode swap because nobody else is doing it. If you buy one of the advanced kits, so it'll have an X in the part number, which we'll get to in a minute. Say you are a Zoom company right now. You've adopted Zoom. That's all you're ever going to do, but you get a new CIO. And that person loves Microsoft and says, we're done with Zoom. We're moving to Teams. Well, if you go with a Crestron advanced kit, we have you covered. Don't need to buy new hardware. You can go in through XIO Cloud, hit a little toggle button on the web page and say, okay, I want to move this Zoom room to a Microsoft Teams room. And it reboots, and now you're running the native Teams solution. I know everybody says, well, can I do that on the fly? You could, but it's a reboot process. You have all these other things. You have to go through XIO Cloud. It's really there meant to future-proof your purchase for that instance where you need to move from one corporate standard to another. It's not meant to be flipped back and forth because that's why we have interop and BYOD. And they're easy to use. Any laptop, USB-A, HDMI, USB-C, no software downloads, plug it in and away you go. Others are playing catch up with our technology. Here's all the pieces and parts that you have to buy with somebody else to be able to add BYOD to some of their solutions. Convoluted, how many pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. With ours, it's a single Cat5 from PR box under the table to display. There's all the different add-on kits and everything else that everybody has to do. So let's talk about the lineup for a little bit. Here's the lineup that's shipping currently. So we have 3 different series within the family line. Within the M series, we have 2 different models. The MM stands for Mercury Mini. It's about 30 to 40% smaller than the original Mercury that we shipped. Some of the things to be aware of with the MM30, you can't add any microphones to that device. It has a 10-foot diameter microphone pickup, but you can't add any. So that's why we have it slated there in that small room category. So if you're sitting within 10 feet of the Mercury Mini, you're good. Your audio is going to be clear. It's going to be crisp, and it's going to work really well, but you can expand upon that. So just food for thought. If you have lots of 4 to 6 person huddle rooms, Mercury Mini is the perfect option for you. If you need to be able to add up to 2 extension mics to your system to cover a larger table, the M50 is really what you're looking for. It's the standard Mercury user interface. You can add a couple extension mics and away you go. If for some reason you need pan, tilt, zoom instead of the Genius framing that's offered with the Hudley camera, you go with the M70. So it allows pan, tilt, zoom features. You can control that from the user interface, recall preset, so it allows you to cover a little bit bigger space with a different style of camera. Then we move on to the B series. The B series, B stands for soundbar. It is our UC SB1 cam that has the Hudley camera, microphones, and speakers and DSP all built into a soundbar format that would live under your display, and you would have a tabletop touch panel on your table. We have those slated in small rooms as well. I will tell you, if you have rooms that aren't what I call loud or live, if you have glass on 3 walls or 4 walls, I would look at the B series and I would not have anybody sit farther than 15 feet away. If you have a room that's got nice carpet, there's paintings, wall coverings, maybe you've had it treated for sound before, you can get that B series to work really well out to about 20 feet. And then we're going to talk about the C series, which stands for custom. We all know everybody has auditoriums, everybody has single divisible, double divisible, triple divisible spaces, or you like Logitech Rally cams. Maybe you like any other Microsoft Teams or Zoom certified peripherals that you want to pair with your system. That's where the C series comes in. Really, it is the compute device or our UC engine and the tabletop touch panel. Your integrator, Dobil, gets to pick what microphone system is right for your space, because every space is going to be different. When you get into these larger environments, you need to make sure you're getting the right microphone coverage. You need different camera options. You need all of those things that custom implies. So with all those, you notice on the part numbers, there's ones with an X in the part and ones without. All you need to remember from a Crestron perspective, if you want to add, bring your own device, and to be able to take advantage of mode swap in the future, you need the X series part number. Those are our advanced kits. Anybody have any questions before we move on to support? Give you guys a minute. Nope. Awesome. So let me go back one. All right, we covered the lineup pretty well. So Crestron FlexCare, we announced this a few months ago. This is something that's optional to add to your Flex purchase. What does it get me? Well, it gets you a step better than the normal Crestron support that we've offered forever. 24/7 live support and troubleshooting. So where our normal True Blue support has been great, it's Monday through Friday, right? And then after hours callback, and really they can't do a lot of live troubleshooting. They can't see your computer screen. With FlexCare, your end users can opt in to allow the FlexCare support team to remote into those units, pull logs, do all those things that before we had FlexCare, they asked our integrators to do or the end users to do. If you're under a FlexCare plan in years 4 and 5, it extends your warranty out to 4 or 5 years. It gets you advanced replacement and discounts on on-site services. God forbid you ever need it. I haven't been with Crestron 4 years. I've never had to have somebody go on site for on-site services. But if something really, really bad happens, you get discounted pricing, you get Crestron folks on So Crestron FlexCare surpasses the competition. On the right, you see our standard coverage, which is no different than what everybody's used to from Crestron. Support hours, business hours. Hardware warranty, 3 years. Advanced replacement, it could be a return or it could be a replacement depending on the severity of the issue. On-site support, standard rate supply. With FlexCare, support hours go to 24/7. Hardware warranty gets extended if you're under a FlexCare plan in years 4 and 5. Advanced replacements included, and you get discount off of on-site. I'm going to go back one just for a second. So that's FlexCare in a nutshell. You can buy FlexCare at the time that you purchase a Flex device, or if you've already bought a Flex device, or you're on the fence about should I or should I not. We have another part number that you can add FlexCare to an existing system or add it later, 6 months, 3 months, however long you want, to a Flex system that you bought yesterday. Maybe you don't think you need it, but 6 months down the road, you think, maybe I should. And I also want to point out that the folks that are on that 24/7 support line are UC experts. These aren't just guys that we've taken from True Blue support and moved over to UC support role. These are people that we've hired from Microsoft, from all over the UC community, who know that how to apply a Teams room license in O365. All those things that we weren't able to provide support on in the past. With Flex, we can now. Personal communication devices. So I told you that we have option for every space, right? Well, that includes the desk and your home. A personal communication device is right now that are shipping today are Teams audio devices with touch screens, with audio and video connectivity and peripherals and future-proof. So you can kind of see the footprint there. You have your one-touch joins. You would sign into these with your Microsoft Teams for O365 account, so they can be used for hoteling. That means that you can put these at everybody's desks, and if you do a hotel seating style, people can log into those. It's not meant to be in one room. It can be, but this allows different users to log in to be able to take advantage of that phone. It's ideal for the office or your home. Hot desking, it's always available. Your collaboration companion, it's built for Microsoft Teams, and these are supported through XIO Cloud as well. We also have upgrade kits. So let's say you have 100 of the old Mercuries, and you've been using BYOD forever. You're ready to take that next step and join the Teams or Zoom room wave or movement that we're all seeing right now. You can upgrade any of your audio only or video versions of the older Mercuries to a native Flex kit. So we have part numbers that allow you to migrate. So once again, Crestron is protecting your investment. You don't have to throw away those Mercury devices. You can upgrade them if you want to move to a native or a Zoom room environment. So we're seeing, I think in the past 4 months, I have 3 large corporations that I think each one averaged about 150 to 200 Mercury devices that they upgraded to Microsoft Teams rooms in the last 4 months. So the demand is out there. Just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that we're trying to protect your investment. You don't have to throw away that hardware. Just get an upgrade kit and we'll take care of you. One of the other things that sets us apart from our competition is we have wall-mounted touch panel SKUs as well. So most of the people that you see out there, all those user interfaces are meant to go on the table. You and I both know that there are some folks that don't want anything on the table. I don't care what it is. Don't want it on the table. Not gonna have a touchscreen on my table, Roger. Okay, just order that Flex kit with the -WM at the end of it, and we'll ship it with a wall mount touch panel. So as you can see in the picture, table's got everybody's stuff on it, but that touch panel that maybe you don't need to touch very often when a video call is up on the phone. So advanced room controls. I talked about how Crestron has you covered from a control standpoint with these native systems. Especially in these larger rooms, you may have lighting control in these spaces. You may have multiple sources that you want to present as content in these spaces. You could leverage that with Crestron. With some of the other manufacturers out there, you're going to have to go. They have to go to a third party. They'll have to bring in another control company to pair with their UC product to be able to pull it off. With Crestron, it's a one-stop shop. We have you covered right out of the box. And it's just a little indicator down on it. This is an example of a Microsoft Teams room. You touch that, what looks like sliders down in the corner, and the user interface that Dobil would program for you will pop up and let you control your lights, your shades, let you pick which laptop you want to present into that call, or just do normal presentations and select what source you want to see. Another thing that is going to be released, and I don't have a release date yet, but they're coming soon, I think within the next 3 months, Android room systems. I know and I understand that there are a lot of folks out there that say, I don't want a Microsoft operating system, Roger. Understood. We've all been through it. We all get it. So that's why we're going to offer Android operating systems for our Flex kits here in the near future. And because the demand's out there, it's been asked of us to provide them. But we're going to do it differently. We're not going to pigeonhole you into a soundbar if you want Android. A lot of people are going, hey, I want Android, and our competition's going, great, here's the soundbar. Well, that won't work in my space. Sorry, you won't get that with us. So that whole model lineup that I talked about earlier, the M series, the B series, and the C series, with all the features, it won't be a stripped down version either. All those features are going to be available with Android operating systems here in the near future. So you have all these flex rooms. You've deployed them to your offices in Pittsburgh. Maybe you have a satellite office in California. Maybe you have an office in the United Kingdom, or you're global. Good for you. You have offices everywhere. And you need to manage all these devices. What are you going to do? You're going to turn to Crestron, and we're going to provide you an XIO Cloud so you can monitor and manage all of these spaces. Native IoT technology, cloud first, runs in Microsoft Azure. So if you're running O365 and Teams, XIO Cloud runs in the same platform. So from a security perspective, we have you covered there. Secure outbound connections. We're not trying to tunnel into your firewall. You don't have to go change all your firewall rules for all these devices to be managed through the cloud. We have multiple regions that provide redundancy and failover in case something should happen across the globe. All our services are monitored and maintained 24/7, 365. So you can rest assured that your XIO Cloud service will be up and running. So about 3 or 4, I don't know, maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe 6 months, we announced that we're changing the model for XIO Cloud. Before, you used to have to get an XIO Cloud license per every Crestron device and pay a licensing fee. Ooh, I get it. Now, we listened and we said we need to change how we're offering the service model. Now it's based around rooms. So you could have your Flex room running maybe it has a C series Zoom room, but you also have 30 NVX endpoints. You have a processor, you have Crestron lighting, you have Crestron shades, you have all these other devices, but you're going to pay one low monthly fee for all of it because you're going to group all of those in XIO Cloud into one room. So to give you an idea of what that costs, it's less than $84 a year per room, folks. So if you look at comparative monitoring and management platforms from lots of the big boys out there, number one, hardly a number running in Azure except for Microsoft. And number two, they're way more expensive than what we're offering. So we offer endpoint management service, which gets you settings. So you can change settings in your MTR, change settings in any of your Crestron devices, update firmware through XIO Cloud, change programs and actions. And by the way, when I say update firmware, change settings, I'm not talking about a one-to-one. So if you have 100 MTR rooms and a new feature comes out, and you want to update the firmware before the Windows update gets it done, or you need to change a setting, you can change that setting in XIO Cloud and have it populate down to all 100 rooms at one time and schedule it to be ran at a certain time at night. So no more having to go in, log into the one unit's website, make your change, log back out, go to the next one, so you can group them. Saves you time, saves you effort. From a support perspective, you get to see your device status. So wouldn't it be nice to know that your CEO has a very important meeting Monday at 9 o'clock, and Sunday you get a text, hey, Roger, CEO's room's down. Great. Well, I have to go in on a Sunday, but at least I can keep my job. So with XIO Cloud, you get to know when devices fall offline, get an email or get a text before you walk into the office on Monday. So it allows you to be one step ahead. You can also take control of the room. So in XIO Cloud, if you have Microsoft Teams meeting rooms or Zoom rooms, XIO Cloud, you go in, you pick your room, and you can view that user interface, that actual touch panel, and actually interact with it from anywhere in the world through a web browser. So you can pull up that touch panel. If you have a specific end user who just can't quite seem to get how to present or to do any of those things, yeah, you could white glove it. You can white glove their call. You can have the touch panel up. They could be in the room, and you can take those actions for them. So the support feature allows you to do all those kinds of things. Another great thing about the support feature is if you do make any of those changes from the endpoint management side, and it's an oops, I made the wrong change, and you applied it to 100 units, there's a logging feature. So XIO Cloud will log what changes are made and by who. So you can use that as a teaching moment in case Roger really messes up and changes the wrong setting and pushes it company-wide. You know, one, what to go back and fix, and number two, who to pull aside and say, hey, don't do that again, okay? So, and then if you are leveraging Microsoft Power BI to customize reports and analytics, the reports and analytics that XIO Cloud provides, you can export to Power BI. So that is the API function. So you can pick and choose which one of these support services you need, or maybe you decide that you need all three. And then you only pay for the part that you need instead of having to say, oh, you just get it all and you'll like it. That's pretty nice of us, I thought. Endpoint management services just highlights what I just talked about. Manage firmware, settings, programs, complete log of all the changes that happen so you can go yell at Roger when he makes the wrong one. Support services, remote control of the touchscreen, alerts so you can know when the room's down before you walk in and get fired on Monday. Device technical dashboards. So it allows you to know your firmware status for all 100 of your flex rooms at a glance without having to go to a web page for each one. Pretty handy. Workplace analytics, understand how the spaces are being used. System usage versus occupancy. If you choose to put an occupancy sensor in the room, tie it to XIO Cloud, and start to get some usage data. And then the API access is what we just talked about, tying it to Microsoft Power BI. We also have an API that we publish. If it's not Microsoft Power BI and you have another asset management platform, you could work on hiring somebody to make that connection for you. That is it for UC. I want to talk about room control from anywhere or touch-free control. I wanted to pause here for a second to see if there's any questions, thoughts, concerns that I could answer for you while we're taking a little break. Nope. Awesome. Well, we'll have time for questions at the end. This won't take much longer to get through. So room control from anywhere. several challenges that your clients and possibly you are faced with to enable room control from personal mobile devices during this global pandemic. We know that people are going to go back to work. They don't want to touch that touch panel. I don't know who touched it. Roger touched it, and I know sometimes he's been known to pick his nose. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. People don't want to touch the touch panel in a pandemic. So Crestron has a way for you and your end users to be able to control Crestron rooms from their mobile device. So some of the challenges are your AV rooms are on a different network than the corporate and mobile phones, right? So normally I can make calls, but my AV system is on a totally different network and the two shall never communicate. That's a challenge. User interfaces are designed for large screens. Our touch screens are 7 or 10 inches. Programmers are taking that real estate, making it really easy for the users to use, but there's still a lot going on some of those panels, right? How do you squeeze that all down to a phone? If it's not easy for the individuals to use, they're just not going to do it. They're not going to go into the room. That's just a fact. It's got to be simple to administer and to be able to set up and to roll out. So introducing Crestron Mobile Services, or Crestron One, as we call it. It's an app. Download to your phone right now. It is iOS only. I asked the product manager to give me an idea of Android release. He hasn't got back to me yet. So that's a question that you guys can follow up with Dobil or myself on in the future, and I'll try to get you a date of when Crestron One will work with Android. But we make it simple. So step one, you got to connect to the system, right? We automatically discover a Bluetooth beacon in our 60 and 70 series panels. As long as Bluetooth's enabled on your phone, you can go in and when your app, and it'll give you a list of rooms, you select it, but then Roger, how do I know I'm in the right room? Well, we're going to pop up a security code and or a QR code that you can use your phone to authenticate with, and you connect to the system and do all the functions that you want, and then you go control from there. So what we end up doing is we allow you to pick the 1, 5, 50 features of that touch panel that gets moved over to the mobile device control. If you want all the features, you may have to go through. You can see on this little animation there, there's little arrows after every one of those tabs on your phone, and that'll drill down into menus. Or you can just pick the 5 things that people do most in that room and expose those controls to their phone. So we have a robust security model. Bluetooth connection, localized connection prevents people from taking control, and also PIN QR code. We need a 7 or 10 inch panel in the 60 series or 70 series, 3 or 4 series processor. And this could be for any custom program project or AV framework project that's out there. Really simple. We take, this kind of gives you an idea on the next slide. So on your left, you see what would your program would normally see in VT Pro E, which is our UI generation tool. And there's little boxes there that have numbers. Those are the join numbers. So we run a report, and you get a list of join numbers, and the folks at Dobil will help you go through this. It's an Excel spreadsheet. You say, yeah, I want these room features. We do a little conversion in the background, give them or you a file to load into your touch panel, and away you go. Guess what? We didn't have to reprogram the room at all. Really simple. You didn't have to go back and touch any of that stuff. These licenses are hosted on the processor, so you don't have to go and worry about putting things on the touch panel. And to give you an idea, it's about $12 a month published price, list price for Crestron One. So everybody else is taking the approach of, all right, we're going to do it this way or we're going to do it that way. Their approaches are all fine and good. The biggest obstacle that I see is that network obstacle, because most of the time, all the AV gear is on a different VLAN than the corporate network that your phone's residing on when you're in the office. That's not going to work. Too many roadblocks. And you have to reprogram all those systems. With us, we're just going to give you a little configuration tool, create a little file that gets loaded in the touch panel, and leverage Bluetooth. So here it talks about iOS smartphone and tablet, Android coming soon. If you are leveraging VC4 in any of your environments, then Crestron 1 is free. So it's included with a VC4 subscription. And that is it.